Not yet.
Not yet.
Can you do it? You can. Now.
All right, now I'm on. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Jonah Child's Bar Mitzvah. For those of you who are watching, just like I am, from your homes, what's happening is Jonah and his family and a few friends and family members are in the sanctuary with Jonah, and the rest of us are in our homes or wherever we're watching from. We might be here in Asheville or Staten Island or Texas, who knows where, but we're all with Jonah, and I know the experience of how challenging that is. As Jonah is a musical partner of mine, Jonah and I traveled to retirement homes and assisted living organizations to bring Jewish music and Shabbat to the lives of the people living there. And it's difficult to be separated from your musical partners. But today, even though we're not in the same place, we are here in the same time. We are together. So let's love and support Jonah as he becomes our newest congregational bar mitzvah. And let's celebrate that togetherness with Hine Matov. Hine Matov u'manai sheverachim gam yachad. 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 Hine Matov u'manai sheverachim gam yachad.
Hi.
Hi.
I have the privilege today of presenting this talit, or prayer shawl, to Jonah. And I would just like to share how we chose it and why we think that it fits Jonah and his journey to being a Jewish adult. First of all, there are the colors. So we thought that the blue and the green swirls reminded us of the earth. Jonah has always been a passionate student of planet Earth and a steward of its inhabitants. As you'll hear in his Torah portion today, Jonah will explain to us how the Torah compels us to be Shomrei Adamah, or guardians of the earth. So we thought that this would fit him perfectly. And next is the inscription on it. On it is written, Adonai Sifatei Tiftach Ufi Yagid Tahilatecha, which translates to, God, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. This seemed the perfect prayer for Jonah's talit, because Jonah's voice is what connects him to the universe and all its wonders. He's always been an eloquent speaker with a precision of language that the rest of us sometimes were challenged to match. Jonah's music and voice has connected him with other people and with the heritage and prayers of his Jewish faith. In Jonah's first Devar Torah, the one from April 25th, he spoke about being impeccable with his words, as instructed by the Torah. So it seems fitting that this prayer shawl summons him to lift up his voice in praise and prayer. Congratulations, Jonah.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef batzitzi.
Amen.
We continue on page 66. Who does not hunger for friendship, understanding, warmth and love. Chazak, chazak, v'nid chazek. Let us lend strength to one another and pray for the welfare of this community. We continue on page 74 with the singing of Ma Tovu.
Let's experience the sacred sanctuary not only in the space that we are in right now, but in our bodies. Asher Yatzar. I thank you for my life, body and soul.
Help me realize I'm beautiful and whole.
Help me realize I am beautiful and whole.
Perfect the way I am and a little broken.
I'm perfect the way I am and a little broken too.
I will live each day as a gift I give to you.
I will live each day as a gift I give to you. Oh,
רופא כל בשר ומחליט לעשות ברוך אתה אדוני רופא כל בשר ומחליט לעשות
Page 80.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan l'sechli v'na l'hachin ben yom u'ben laila. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Elokei achivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Zokef kifufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Rokah haaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Hamachim nitzavei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Malbish arumim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Hanoten laev koach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Hama'avir shena me'enai utnuma me'afapai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'tselem Elohim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'aturim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Ozer Yisrael b'gvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Otir Yisrael b'tifara.
Amen. We continue on page 86 with the blessing for Torah study. And it's an honor to invite Ginny Mercer to share a few words as one of Jonah's teachers of Torah.
Oh, Jonah. I'm so happy to be here. Let's just start with that. So, a little history. You started in August of last year. You studied with your dream team, Asher and Sophie. I think there was a break somewhere. You worked with Teo a little bit, and then you worked with me. There was so much time. You went from Tazria, which is a very hard work, Parsha, to Breshit, which is just so profoundly beautiful. So, listen, all this time, this counts, and I'm pretty sure they're going to waive your first year of rabbinical school, and I'm going to sign for it, okay? So you're good. But because you worked so hard and for so long, and you learned so fast, you and I had a lot of time to talk. And I think that's what makes our time together a little bit different. We got to talk about everything. We talked about Sandy Mush and bicycling and your seniors, and of course we talked about your Torah portion. But I want you to know that everything is Torah. because you were learning and it was teaching, and I just can't tell you how happy I was to be there. I looked forward to every minute. I enjoyed every minute. And it might be a little early for me to say this, but if you want to do another bar mitzvah, just call me. I'm good. I'm in. I'm all in. All right. Your closing song last night inspired my final comments. When I reach out to you and you reach out to me, we become B'Tselem Elohim. Okay. The blessing for the study of Torah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. And on page 88, these are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study, morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all.
We rise on page 106.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'alma nivra yirteh ve'amlich malchuteh. B'chayechon v'yomechon u'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, uvizman kariv, v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach, le'olam u'ol me'omaya, yitbarach. Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitale v'yithala, Shemei dekudesha brechu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen.
Face the arm.
Barechu et Adonai hamevorach. Barechu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Yotzer or uvorei choshech, Osei shalom uvorei et hakol, Hameir la'aretz v'ladarim aleha barachamim, uvtuvo mechadesh bechol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reishit. Ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam bechokma asita, mal'a ha'aretz kinyanecha. Titbarach Adonai Eloheinu, al shevach ma'aseh yadecha, ve'al me'orot or she'asita, yefa arucha sela, or chadash, al tzion ta'ir, v'nizkeh hulanu mehera le'oro. Baruch atah Adonai, yotzer ha'me'orot.
We continue on page 113.
Love your neighbor as yourself, you said, and light-blinded we saw, that inner and outer worlds are one, as you are one.
You spoke and we wrote. We reached for you down the centuries. Your light moving before us as we climbed, fell back and climbed again, your Sinai of life.
Baruch atah Adonai, habocher be'amo Yisrael be'ahava.
Shema Yisrael,
Yisrael
Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levacha ubechol nafshecha ubechol me'odecha v'hayu hadevarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'dibarta bam B'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'aderech uv'shochbecha uv'kunecha ukashartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha ukatavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha Leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim le'Eloheihem ani Adonai Eloheihem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim Ani Adonai Eloheichem, Adonai Eloheichem emet.
In the middle of page 121.
The eternal truth that is you alone are God, and there is none else. May the righteous of all nations rejoice in your love and exult in your justice. Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Let nation not lift up sword against nation, nor learn war anymore. You shall not hate your brother or your sister in your heart. The stranger that sojourns with you shall be accepted as your equal, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. Why do you crush my people and oppress the poor? Asked God. We know that the Eternal One defends the poor and upholds the rights of the needy. Praise to God Most High. Blessed is God and deserving of blessing.
Page 122.
Mi chamocha vayim Adonai, mi chamocha neder b'kodesh, Norah tehilot osef velech, Norah tehilot osef velech. Yain lai lai lai, yain lai lai lai, yain lai lai lai, yain lai 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 lai, yain lai lai lai, yain lai lai lai, yain lai lai lai, yain lai 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 lai. Shira chadesha shipululim leshimcha al tzvat hayam yachad kulam hodu ve'imlichu ve'ameru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed Yain lai 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 Yain lai 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 Yain lai 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 Yain lai 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 Yain lai 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 Yain lai 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 Yain lai 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 Yain lai 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 Tzur Yisrael Kuma Adonai Tzivaot Shemo, Kedosh Yisrael, Baruch Atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael.
Page 124.
Adonai Sefatai Tiftach Ufiyah Yitehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanorah El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Asdei Avot V'Imahot Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem Leman Shemo Ve'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayei Metim Atah Rav Lehoshia Mashiv Haruach U'Marina Gashem Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed Mechayei Metim Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot Umido Melach Melech Memit Umechayeh Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman Atah L'chayot Metim Baruch Atah Adonai Mechayeh HaMetim.
Nekadesh et Shimcha ba'olam, Yishem Shemati Shimoto b'Shmei Marom, Kachatuv al yad nevi'echa, V'kara ze el ze ve'amar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzivaot, Melech haaretz, Kevodo, Adir, Adirenu, Adonai, Adonenu, Madir Shimcha b'chol haaretz, Baruch Kevod Adonai Mikol. Echad hu Eloheinu, hu Avinu, hu Malkeinu, hu Moshienu, v'hu Yashmienu, Berachamav le'enei kol chai. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai Yitzion, Ledor vador. Alleluia. Ledor vador nagid God lecha, U'lanetzach netzach kedusha t'chach nagdish, V'shimcha Eloheinu mipinu lo yamush, Le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Page 132. Joyously.
ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. מקדשי שבי שבת, כולם יספרו ויתפנקו מטובך שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. והשביעי רצית בו וקידשו שבת. חמדת ימים אותו קראת שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת.
We continue on page 135.
Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished? Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat, abide. Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time. Contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day. On this day, Shabbat, abide.
Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Page 137.
On this holy Shabbat, may we draw near to life, to peace, and to joy. May we find true rest, holiness in our deeds, and worth in our study of Torah. Let us feed on the love of goodness. Let us drink from the love of goodness, restrain our thirst for excess, and cleanse our hearts to serve life well. On this holy Shabbat, may we draw near in life, in peace, and in joy. Baruch
Atah Adonai she'otcha levadecha v'yirah na'avod. We continue now on page 139, responding each time to Jasper with the words Modim anachnu lach, which mean we are grateful to you.
for the expanding grandeur of creation, worlds known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imaginations.
Modim anachnu lach.
For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons.
Modim anachnu lach.
For the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements.
Modim anachnu lach.
For human community, our common past and future hope, our oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression.
Modim anachnu lach.
For high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding of views not shared.
Modim anachnu lach.
For all who have labored and suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so that others may live in dignity and freedom.
Modim anachnu lach.
For human liberties and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and choose.
Modim anachnu lach.
We pray that we may live not by our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai,
hatov shimcha ulakana el v'hodot. On page 140, we join in our anthem of peace.
Sim shalom. Chesed, chen v'chesed v'rachamim. Chen v'chesed, v'rachamim. V'rachamim. Sim shalom. Sim shalom tova uvracha. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha.
141.
Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of our world. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Adonai, who blesses your people with peace.
Baruch atah Adonai, hamevarech et amo Yisrael, b'shalom. We share a few moments now in silence.
Oh, say shalom bimromav. Huya say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Ve'imru. Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, Lai 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 lai, ay la lai lai lai, ya la lai 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 lai, ya la 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 lai lai, ya la lai lai. Oh,
We turn now to Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the service for the reading of Torah, which you can find on pages 248 and 49 in your prayer books. And I invite the congregation to please rise as all of those who are participating in passing the Torah through the generations are invited to the bima.
We are gifts, and we are blessings, we are history in song. We are hope, and we are healing, we are learning to be strong. We are words, and we are stories, we are pictures of the past. We are carriers of wisdom, not the first and not the last. Lador vador nagid god lecha. Lador vador, we protect this chain from generation to generation. Lador vador, these lips will praise your name. Looking back on the journey that we carried in our hearts, from the shadow of the mountain to the waters that would part. We are blessed and we are holy, we are children of your name, and the words that bring us meaning, we will have the strength to say. Lador vador nagid god lecha. Lador vador, we protect this chain from generation to generation. Lador vador, these lips will praise your name.
So Jonah, I'm sure that at times it felt like your bar mitzvah was gonna be a never-ending thing. Never-ending. And in a way, even though it's happening today, you learned something really true about the study of Torah, which is that it is never-ending. And particularly when we're landing this week at the very beginning again. And as we sing this song, Lador Vador, from generation to generation, there's this never-ending quality. This is one way station along what started long before you started with Jenny last August. When you were born into this world, this bar mitzvah was in the making. And its echoes will live on long, long after today. But I also wanted to share with you something really important also, that by landing on this Torah portion and having this kind of a bar mitzvah, also teaches. That's a really important, big idea about Judaism and about life. And that is that in the beginning story, we read about creation, and in large measure, creation was about separating things, separating light from darkness and water from land, and the different species and plants and birds, and making distinctions and separations. But what's also true in all of that is that there is a oneness that transcends all separation. Jasper read it in his reading, but that's a deep truth that I think only a bar mitzvah like this could really make you understand on a very deep level. Because here we are with members, some of the members of your family of friends, but physically separate from some of the most important people who are also responsible for passing Torah to you, your grandma and your aunt, who will bless the Torah in a few moments, who are also here with you. There is a oneness, Jonah, that transcends all separation. And I know how long it took you to really grieve the bar mitzvah that you might have had in the spring, where everyone would have been together. But maybe, deep within you, you will store this knowing of this oneness that transcends all separation, because it will be helpful to you in all parts of life, because we won't always all be together in all the ways that we want to be, even after this moves on and something else takes its place. But there is a great comfort and security and beauty and sacredness in knowing that we are held in a oneness that transcends all separation in time and in space, in life and in death. A oneness that transcends all separation. So as you receive this Torah from the people who are physically with you, know that it is being passed to you by more people who are not physically here, but who are with you today as well. And we are so proud of you for persevering and for making it to this joyous occasion.
We protect this chain from generation to generation. Ledor vador, these lips will praise your name.
Ki mitzion tetzei Torah. Ki mitzion tetzei Torah. Udevar Adonai mirushalayim. Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shema. Gadlul Adonai iti, unaromema Shemo Yachdav.
as honey, sweet as honey on our tongue. Sweet as honey, sweet as honey, sweet as honey on our tongue. Baruch
Thank you.
Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav itzivanu לעשות בדברי תורה, לעשות בדברי תורה. Sweet as honey, sweet as honey, sweet as honey on sweet words of Torah. Sweet as honey, sweet as honey, sweet as honey on our tongue.
At this time, we will hear a beautiful Devar Torah from our Bar Mitzvah.
My Torah portion is Breshit from the book of Genesis. Breshit means in the beginning, and it is a familiar story to us. A story that tells how out of nothing came the entire world. Here is how it goes. It begins with the first day and the creation of light and darkness. On the second day, the Rakia is created, which in ancient times was believed to be an enormous dome above the earth that held back the waters above the earth. God then names the expanse of the area the sky. On the third day, God makes all of the water pool in one place, making seas and the dry land be seen. On the dry land, God creates vegetation such as trees, bushes, grass, shrubs, you name it. On the fourth day, God created lights and placed them all across the Rakia, making 2 huge lights, one to govern the day, the sun, and one to govern the night, the moon. On the fifth day, God created the birds and all the animals to rule the seas. They told the birds to rule the skies and the fish to rule the seas. On the 6th day of creation, God created all the animals of the earth. God separated the domestic animals from the wild ones and created all the animals that could exist. Then God created humans, B'Tselem Elohim, in the divine image. God then gives the humans sway over all the creatures of the earth, telling them to be fruitful and multiply. Finally, on the 7th day of creation, the Sabbath, God decided to rest. And what a rest they must have taken, having created the whole world in 7 days? Yeesh. The next story is also familiar to us. God created the Garden of Eden for the creatures. God then placed the human in the garden and gave him a companion by the name of Eve. God let them do whatever they liked, so long as they did not eat the fruit of the tree of all knowledge. Unfortunately, as the story goes, Eve was tricked by the serpent into eating the fruit of the tree, and then gave some to Adam to eat. They were then banished from the garden. Soon Eve gave birth to Cain and Abel, 2 brothers. One day, when the 2 went to give offerings to the God Eternal, God approved of Abel's offering, but not of Cain's. This made Cain so infuriated that he killed his brother Abel. God was sad that he had created a creature that could do such a thing, and he banished Cain to live as a nomad. This was not the last time humans would disappoint God. Eventually, as humans began to multiply,
God became heartsick and regretted making humans, so he prepared to destroy them and all of the animals on the earth. This is where my parsha ends, but it is not the end of the story. I gave you a lot of details about the creation story in the Torah. Every culture has a story that tells us of the beginning of the world, and this is ours. We have learned that Jewish interpreters of the Torah did not agree on the details, and in modern times, we understand that our universe came into existence around 14 billion years ago, and that the earth was formed over 4.5 billion years ago. We can hold both our scientific knowledge and the beauty of our creation story in our minds as we wrestle with the lessons it provides. Jewish people have seen the lessons in our first story, even while arguing over the details for centuries. In Breshit, we are told that humans are masters of the world, that the creation is good, and that we hold sway over it. This seems both good and bad. It makes humans seem very powerful, the most powerful creature on earth. We have seen over the course of human history, this has come true, and it is more true now than ever before. Our earth is in a delicate balance. This fact has been realized by scientists, philosophers, and religious scholars. People even realized this long ago, before technology. Rabbinic interpreter Don Isaac Abravanel, who lived in 15th century Spain, thought that if the sun was larger and closer to the earth, its heat would melt us all away. Had it been farther or smaller, we would have all frozen. He and many others thought of this Goldilocks planet as a palace of which we are the caretakers. We have to make decisions regarding the safety and health of the earth. This was a big deal long ago when our ancestors relied on their farms to provide them with food and survival. It is an even bigger deal now, though we act both locally and globally now. Wildfires, droughts, hurricanes, and other natural disasters are happening all the time now. Climate change is an existential threat. It challenges our very existence. If the Torah tells us that human beings are responsible for everything that was created, then we are responsible for tackling climate change. We are not doing this. We should be protecting the planet by not polluting it, not putting greenhouse gases in the air. We are warming the planet, and this is a huge problem for animals. Since I was a kid, I have loved animals. I have loved to go to zoos and watched every David Attenborough documentary about animals on this planet. I have learned to appreciate the biodiversity of this planet. My favorite type of animals are ungulates, or hoofed mammals. They inhabit every continent except Antarctica and come in all shapes and sizes. The mouse deer is tiny, and the eland of South Africa is bigger than a horse. The hyrax is a tiny ungulate that looks like a tailless squirrel, but is most closely related to the elephant, which is an ungulate too. Climate change puts all these animals at risk. Climate change is already causing mass extinctions. The Torah says we are supposed to protect the planet and all creation. Scientists have said that we are the cause of climate change. It is our leaders and all our responsibility to tackle climate change. I hope that my generation will tackle this problem before it is too late by demanding climate action from our leaders and changing our culture in ways that reduce all of our carbon footprints. Another lesson we can learn from Breshit is that we are asked to be responsible for each other. After murdering him, when God asks Cain where his brother Abel is, he responds, "Am I my brother's keeper?" The point the Torah is making is, yes, we are each other's keepers. It is important for us to be responsible for each other, now more than ever. As a community, we can protect each other by following COVID guidelines and wearing masks. We can stand up for those less fortunate and those who have been mistreated by our society by institutional racism. We can treat our elders with dignity. For my mitzvah project, before the pandemic lockdowns, I decided to combine my love of music and my love of old people to help my good friend Seth do Shabbat services at elder homes. 1 or 2 Fridays every month, I would leave school early and go to Harmony and play my guitar and sing with the old folk. We also do Kiddush and they shared stories from their past. Through this, I felt like I was bringing joy to the lives of people who do not see young people play music regularly. I enjoyed playing guitar for them and hearing their stories. I felt like I was helping people in my community by going to play for them. And if we all perform small and big acts for each other, they can add up to a lot. I hope to one day return to the elder homes to play. Playing music is part of my Jewish identity. I was in the Kehila Tefillah band with Seth. Preparing the music for my Bar Mitzvah has made me feel connected to my Jewish self, even though I am separated from my Jewish community. Even though I am having my Bar Mitzvah today, I am already a madrich for Kita Gimel. Teaching younger kids things about Judaism has always been a passion for me. Before COVID, I used to help my mom teach gardening at the JCC. For me, having my Bar Mitzvah isn't about anything in particular, just another day floating by on the winds of being a Jew. Though getting a Bar Mitzvah makes you officially a Jewish adult, I feel that I have always been a Jew. Finally, as a world, we need to look out for one another. I think the story of Cain and Abel urges us to see all of the world as brothers and sisters, and that if we were to act according to the Torah, no nation would fight against any other. Now, we need to be united as one, not brother against brother like Cain and Abel, but together, a united world against this pandemic. My Haftarah portion says, "Let all the nations come together." The nations of the world need to come together to fight COVID-19. If we don't, we won't defeat it. This challenge is really big and needs an even bigger response to be defeated. We are but one part of a complicated Earth system and a tiny part of the universe, but we still need to be responsible for all that is created and take care of it to the best of our ability. If we take responsibility for all the creatures on Earth and protect them and look out for one another as brothers and sisters, we have a chance of tackling our present and future problems.
With Jonah as he reads in the red Eitz Chaim Torah commentaries at your seats. The portion Genesis 1:1 begins on page 3, and it is an honor to invite for the first Aliyah, Ginny Mercer. Ta'amod Miriam bat Avraham v'Sarah la'aliyah la Torah. Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed. Amen.
Amen. Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz ve'haaretz hayta tohu vavohu ve'choshech al panei tehom ve'ruach Elohim merachefet al panei hamayim vayomer Elohim yihi or Vayehi or Vayar Elohim et haor ki tov Vayavdel Elohim ben haor uvein hachoshech Vayikra Elohim laor yom v'lachoshech kara laila Vayehi erev Vayehi voker Yom Echad.
now it is an honor to bring in Jonah's grandma and aunt, Judith Pesach and Sari Pesach, to call them to Torah. Ta'amdu Yehudit Dina bat Yoel Yitzchak v'Sara Fega v'Shulamit Leah bat Yaakov Nisim v'Yudit Dina la'aliyah la Torah. What's that? I have to turn up the volume on the TV. Uh-oh. Does it come in the stream? It's going in the stream.
We're imagining them saying it. Right, exactly. This transcends time and
No
space.
tena Torah.
Amen. Vayomer Elohim Yehi Rakia Beto Hamayim Vihi Mavdio Ben Maim Lamaim Vayas Elohim Et Harakia Vayavdel Ben Hamayim Asher Mitachat Larakia Uvein Hamayim Asher Me'al Larakia Vayhichen Vayikra Elohim Larakia Shamayim Vayhi Erev Vayhi Voker Yom Sheni.
We'll sing along with them. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Did you hear it? Did you hear it? We did.
No, it's
And now it is an honor to invite Jonah's parents, Jackie and Jason Childs, to surround him and for an aliyah. Ta'amod Yudit Malka Bat Yaakov Nisim Ve Yudit Dina La Aliyah La Torah.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayomer Elohim Yikavu Hamayim Mitachat Hashamayim El Makom Echad V'tera'eh Hayabasha Vayhichen Vayikra Elohim Vayabasha Eretz Umikvei Hamayim Kara Yamim Vayar Elohim Ki Tov Vayomer Elohim Tadshe Haaretz Deshe Esev Mazri Yazera Eitz Peri Ose Peri Let me know Asher Zarovo Al Haaretz Vayehi chen v'totzei ha'aretz deshe esev mazriya zera leminehu v'etz oseperi asher zarovo leminehu vayar Elohim ki tov Vayehi erev vayehi voker Yom Shlishi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chaye olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
El Malei Rachamim, Shochem Bamromim, Hamatzei Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei HaShechina, B'malot Kedoshim Utehorim Kezohar Haraki Amazhirim, Et Nishmat Yaakov Nisim, Ben Nisim V'Leah, Shehalach le'olamo began Eden tehei menuchato. Ana bal rachamim hastirehu b'seter knafecha le'olamim. Utzror b'tzror chaim et nishmato Adonai hu nachlato. Ve'anuach b'shalom al mishkavo. Venamar, Amen. And now it is an honor to invite our Bar Mitzvah to Torah, Jonah King Childs. Ya'amod Bachur HaBar Mitzvah, Yonah Melech, Ben Yudit Malka, La'aliyah La Torah,
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vayomer Elohim Yehi me'orot birkiyah hashamayim lehavdil ben hayom uvein halayla v'hayu leotot umo adim ulyamim v'shanim v'hayu lim orot birkiyah hashamayim Lehair al haaretz vayehi chen vayas Elohim et shnei hameorot hagedolim et hamaor hagadol lememshelet hayom ve'et hamaor hakaton lememshelet halayla ve'et HaKochavim Vayitein otam Elohim Birkiyah Hashamayim Lehair al haaretz V'limshol bayom uvalayla Uhavdio ben haor uvein hachoshech Vayar Elohim ki tov Vayehi erev, vayehi voker, Yom Revi'i. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chaye olam natan b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Mi sheberach avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov, Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah, hu yivarech et Jonah melech ben Yudit Malka shehigia lemitzvot, ve'ala lichvod hamakom v'lichvod haTorah v'lichvod haShabbat. HaKadosh Baruch Hu yishmerehu v'yichayehu. V'yichonen et libo lihiyot shalem im Adonai Elohav, lahagot b'torah lelecha b'drachav v'lishmor mitzvotav. V'yishlach bracha v'hatzlacha b'chol ma'aseh yadav. Yizku horav legadlo letorah u'lechuppah u'lema'asim tovim. V'yimtzah chem v'sechato b'nei Elohim v'adam v'nomar Amen. May God, who blessed all of our ancestors from the first moments until now, bless Jonah, who has come for an aliyah upon reaching the age of mitzvot, with reverence for God and respect for the Torah and for Shabbat. May the Holy One of Blessing protect and sustain Jonah, helping him to continue to be wholehearted in his faith, to study Torah and to fulfill mitzvot and to walk in God's ways. May Jonah's parents continue to rear him to maturity, guiding him to the blessings of continued Torah learning and teaching, escorting him to the wedding canopy should he so choose, and helping him live a life full of ma'asim tovim, acts of loving kindness. May he continue to find favor before God and our community, as we all say, Amen. And now we offer blessings of healing in the sacred presence of Torah, as we call to mind all of those people who are in need. Mishaberach avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov, Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah, hu yivarech v'yirapeh et hacholim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu yimaleh rachamim aleihem lahachazikam u'lerabotam, v'yishlach lahem mehera refuah shlema min hashamayim. Refuat hanefesh u'refuat haguf b'toch shar cholei Yisrael hashta b'agala u'bizman kariv. V'nomar Amen. May God, who blessed our ancestors, bring blessing and healing to all of those who are in need. May the Holy One of Blessing mercifully restore them to health and vigor, granting them physical and spiritual well-being together with all others who are ill. And let us all say, Amen. And we rise now as we lift and dress the Torah.
Oh boy.
We got you.
Hopefully.
Bezot
Torah, asher sam Moshe, lifnei bnei Yisrael, achi Adonai, beyad Moshe. Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. Yihiram hayam, Yihiram hayam, Yihiram hayam, umelo. Yihiram hayam, Yihiram hayam, Yihiram hayam, umelo. Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz.
Torah this morning comes from Isaiah at chapter 43, beginning at verse 9. You can find it on page 40 of your commentaries in front of you.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar v'nvi'im tovim, v'ratzav v'divrehem ha'ne'emarim ba'emed, Baruch atah Adonai, habocher b'torah, u'v'Moshe avdo, u'v'Yisrael amo, u'v'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek. Kol hagoyim nikbetzu yakdav, v'yasfu le'umim mivahem yagid zot, v'rishtonot yashmi'unu, yitnu edehem, v'yitzdaku, v'yishme'u, v'yomru emet. Atem edai ne'um Adonai, ve'avdi asher bacharti lema'an tedu, v'ta'aminu li, v'tavinu ki ani hu, lefanai lo notzar el, ve'acharai lo yeh. Anochi, Anochi, Adonai, ve'en mibal adai, Moshiach. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, tzor kol haolamim, tzadik b'chol ha'adorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer ve'oseh, ha'medaber u'mekayem, shechol devarav, emet v'tzedek, al ha'torah, ve'al ha'avodah, ve'al ha'nevi'im, ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh, shenatata lanu, Adonai Eloheinu, likdusha v'limnucha, lichavod u'letiv aret, al ha'kol, Adonai Eloheinu, Anachnu modim lach, u'mevarchim otach, yitbarach shimcha befi kol chai, tamid le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha'shabbat.
We turn now to page 256 as we rise to return the Torah to the ark.
It's fine.
Jonah, I'm going to speak to you and to everyone from myself and from your dad. While looking through pictures to use for this weekend, we made our way all the way back to the very beginning of you, Jonah, the Bereshit of Jonah. Looking at the tiny little face in the pictures, we were reminded that back then we had no idea who Jonah was. We did not know who you would become. We didn't know about your love for animals, your voracious appetite for learning, your encyclopedic knowledge of hoofed mammals, ungulates, if you didn't catch that, and your affinity for David Attenborough. We didn't know you would march us authoritatively through zoos all over the country, determined to see everything, and especially the rarest finds at that particular zoo, not to mention, of course, the ungulates. It would come to be known as the Jonah Zoo experience and required the stamina of a marathon runner. We didn't know that the domesticated ungulate, the goat, would be such a prominent fixture in your imagination and your life. We also didn't know, Jonah, that you would always have a song in your heart, singing and now whistling your way through life, tuned in to the melodies all around you. We didn't know you would learn to play half the Beatles' library on your guitar or flourish in multiple rock bands. That music would play a special role in your Jewish journey as you played with Seth at elder homes for Shabbat and during Kehillah Tefillah. We didn't know, Jonah, back then, that you would be a budding filmmaker, working diligently for hours on stop-motion films, that you would blend intellect and creativity into your creations. Back then, when you were tiny little Jonah, we didn't know that you would have such a strong connection to nature and the rhythms of the flora and fauna around you. Your years of playing in the woods giving you a reverence and a deep understanding of the natural world around you. That you would become our country farm worker, putting up fences and building head walls with your dad and tending animals. We didn't know that you would be a tree monkey like your dad, a golfer, a flag football player, a disc golfer, an archer, a skier. We had no idea back then what Magic the Gathering was. And we still don't, but apparently you are good at it and know all about it. Jonah, we didn't know how strong your sense of right and wrong would be, that you would be such a steadfast member of your school community, someone who could be looked to for leadership and morality when needed, that you would be such a loyal and true friend. We knew we loved you very much back then, but who you would be was yet to be seen. I can say now that we have been honored to spend these years with you, learning who you are and what makes you such a unique force in the world. And now we stand at a similar junction. We don't know who adult Jonah will be. We don't know how the lessons you have learned from us, from your teachers, from your friends, from Judaism, from life, will inform the person you become. How you will take all the childhood experiences and use them as you navigate the world. But just like then, that future Jonah is in there. He's standing before us right now. We are already very proud of you. We have watched you follow your inner compass and always be true to yourself, a unique personality, and we are sure that this will continue into your adulthood. We have seen in the past few months you adapt with grace as the pandemic upended your world and this day, all the while becoming a more independent and mature teen. We have watched you prepare for 2 entire bar mitzvahs. That is a special club of kids, indeed. We don't know what roads you will take, Jonah, but we feel confident sending the Jonah that you are now and the Jonah you will become out into the world to use your unique powers for good, to commune with the ungulates, to share your song, and to bring your gifts to the world. We love you.
So Jonah, your folks are going to open the ark right now, and they're going to put their hands on you for a blessing. And I know that one of the most important people along this journey has been Seth for you. So you're just going to have to feel that oneness that transcends all separation as he offers you the blessing of the priestly benediction, threefold blessing. May God bless you, watch over you, guide you, and keep you. May the light of God's presence shine upon you and through you, and may God grant you wholeness and peace.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
And you may remain standing as we turn all together to page 282 for Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tet gedula leotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei aratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kecho hamonam. V'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch Hu. You may close the ark.
V'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech ol kol haaretz bayom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
We think now of loved ones, those whom death has recently taken from us, and those who died at this season in years past. From Jonah's extended family, we remember Jacques Pesach, Lee and Victor Pesach, Faye and Joel Schaefer, Zach Childs, and Ruth and John Bolin. Zichronam livracha, may all of their memories be for a blessing as we join together to praise God, the giver of life and memory, as we rise for Mourner's Kaddish, page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agalau v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevarach le'olam olamei maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitale v'yithalal shmei d'kudusha brichu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran ve'alma ve'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabba min Shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Ose shalom b'mamav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru amen.
Ve'imru, 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 amen. Ve'imru, 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 amen.
There are a great many people that I would like to thank for getting me all the way to this place. First of all, I would like to thank Jenny Mercer for teaching me everything I needed to know about Torah and a great many things about life in general. I'd like to thank my mom for being the most amazing mom I could hope for and guiding me through the strenuous process of having a bar mitzvah. My brother Taz for being the greatest brother and friend ever. My dad for being the best dad in the world and always doing his best to help me through any problems. My Mimi and Papa in Texas for all the love and support. My Grammy and Auntie for everything they do for me. I know how much they wanted to be here. All of my Hebrew school teachers, Tracy, Justin, Carol, Jerry, Elise, Jenny again, and Len for teaching me the prayers and how to read Hebrew. All of my other teachers for teaching me everything they know and coaching me in life. My friends for always being there when I needed them and just being good friends. Kevin Ring and Len Levi for making all this technology possible. Billy Jonas and Sarah Kim Wild for giving such great music to our temple. Seth for helping me with my mitzvah project, doing the music for all our services, and being a good friend and awesome musical mentor. Rabbi Meiri for doing everything she does for us and helping us put together the service and my bar mitzvah experience. The wonderful congregation for joining us virtually today. All those present in the room for taking the time out of your day to come. And family and friends tuning in from afar. Thank you, and I miss you all. Toda Rabah and Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.